Hi, welcome to Chapter 3, Section 6, Constructing Parallel and Perpendicular Lines. There are a couple of postulates that are in this section, and actually, one of them, the parallel postulate, was introduced in the previous section. I just thought it was better suited to be here with the perpendicular postulate. What both of those say is that if you have a line and a point not on the line, then there is one and only one parallel line that can be drawn through A. And for the perpendicular postulate, there's one and only one perpendicular line that can be drawn through A. Picture it, if you will. Any other line I draw through A will eventually run into line K. Maybe not on this paper, but eventually it would run in. There's only one line that will end up parallel. The same is true for the perpendicular postulate. I can draw many, many lines that go through A and intersect line K, but there's only going to be one line that ends up being perpendicular. Okay? We're going to learn how to construct that perpendicular line, and we're going to learn how to construct the parallel line, and we're going to do that in the following pages. At this point, you should stop this video and you should go to the construction videos for parallel and perpendicular lines through a point and practice those with the appropriate handout, and then come back here and we'll do a few examples together. All right. Okay, we're back and we're on the second page of examples for Chapter 3, Section 6, and we're looking at example 1C. You're being asked to construct a line that passes through D and is parallel to line ST. So the first thing you should do is imagine that when we're done, that line will look something like this and be parallel to line ST. Okay, so if you recall, the first thing we're going to do and the way that we're going to create a parallel line is we're going to do the converse of the corresponding angle theorem. So I set my compass to any particular length, and I go ahead and I make a arc mark that crosses both sides of my angle. You'll notice that I'm going to need to extend the side. So I take my straight edge, I line it up, and I extend side SD. The compass is still set to the original arc length, and so I now place the pointer on D and I draw an arc that crosses one side of my angle and ends up out here. Hopefully that will be long enough. I'm going to make that a little bit longer to make sure it works. Okay, now I come back to the first angle and I measure across from intersection point to intersection point as best you can. I then go to the intersection point created by the second arc and I draw the arc that crosses it. So it's a little difficult to see, but my intersection point is happening right here. I take my straight edge, I line up that intersection point with D, and I draw what appears to be a parallel line. Okay, the second example I want to look at is number 2B. You're being asked to construct the perpendicular to line AB. So to do this construction, again, picture that the perpendicular is going to look something like this. And the construction that we want to use for this would be the boat, as I call it. So I'm going to take my compass, I set it to any distance that I'd like, and I go ahead and just have my compass reach past line AB. Then I go ahead and I rotate my compass and create an arc that intersects line AB at two different points. I then place my compass pointer at one of the intersection points and make my radius larger. I then make an arc mark. Do not change the radius. Move to the other intersection point and make a second arc mark that intersects the first. Take your straight edge, line up the intersection point with R, and draw in your perpendicular. Okay, we're going to do one more example on the next page. Okay, we're on example 3, and it's asked you to construct a perpendicular to line M that passes through point P. And again, imagine that your perpendicular is going to look something like this. So when you want to construct the perpendicular and the point is on the line, you use the tie fighter. So for the tie fighter, you set your compass to any length, place your pointer on the point, which in this case is P. You make an arc mark to the left of P, leave your radius what it is set to, and make an arc mark on the right of P. Now, again, our line was not extended far enough, so we're going to take our straight edge, line it up, and we're going to extend our line to create a second intersection point. Then I take my compass and I set it to a new radius, larger. I make an arc mark. I then maintain the same radius, go to the other endpoint, and make a second arc mark. I then line up my intersection point with point P, and I connect the dots and draw my perpendicular. That is the last example we're going to do for Chapter 3, Section 6. We'll look at the others during class, and you're welcome to also practice the remainder of the constructions on the first 2 pages. So good luck with that, and we'll see you in class.